This is Dean from Top Performance Physio Chatswood, and we're going to be continuing on with the theme of the hip and trying to restore mobility to the hip. One of the missing pieces with hip mobility is strength. A common complaint that we see with a lot of people, they keep reporting that they always have this tightness in the front of their hip when they're standing and walking or during exercise or even after exercise. And the temptation there is to try to stretch it out with lots of hip flexor stretches. Now, often that muscle, that hip flexor muscles, whether it's the psoas or the iliacus, or let's be honest, it's both, what tends to happen is that this muscle gets weak and then it tensions up to try to support the hip, and it all gums up and you keep having this feeling of this tension that keeps building in the front of the hip. So if you're the type of person who's been very, very diligent with your hip flexor stretches, and you're not actually getting the change that you want out of the exercise, or the effect just wears off and the tightness keeps returning, you may not have so much a length issue, you may actually have not enough strength issue, and then that tension is the result of the muscle being too weak to keep up with life and whatever activities that you're doing. So my personal favorite way to strengthen this muscle without accidentally over-recruiting the other muscles is this one. So you're gonna need a friend, not a real friend, gym equipment. So whether that's a TheraBand or tubing, something to that effect. What I wanna do from here is I get down onto my back. So yay, any exercise where I can lie down, I'm very, very happy. So I take the band or the tube, put it underneath 1 foot, anchor it down, and then I get the other side, and then what I want to do is anchor it over the top of the other one. Now, the starting position for this, to make sure I'm actually targeting the main hip flexor muscle, which is the psoas, and I'm not just getting the other muscles like your TFL firing off, what I want to do is I want to start at 90 degrees. If you're using tube, you want to just have your hand here just to anchor it. If you're using a band, you can stretch the band right out, so that way it's going to stay put. So starting position at 90 degrees, drop my head down and then pull up. And then return to 90 degrees, pull back up, and then return to 90 degrees, like so. Standard gym strengthening sort of rules apply. So 3 by 12, 2-3 days a week. Now the thing where I want to feel this, if you've watched the previous video, I told you I want you to feel the stretch in the back of the hip but not in the front of the hip, because you can be irritating the hip. For this one, I actually want you to feel it in the front of the hip, in the crease. Because if you feel it in the crease of the hip, that's where the psoas and the iliacus, the hip flexor muscles, live. So if you're feeling it through there, it means you're actually hitting the right muscle. So good job if that is the case. Interestingly enough, with some people that are very stiff and they report that they're missing a fair bit of flexion, you can actually do this exercise, shake it off, and then repeat, and you might actually find that you get a bit more flexion out of the exercise. So you can actually, not only do you get the long-term benefit of strengthening out your muscles over the weeks and the months and the range improving as a result of that, you can actually get a short-term change in terms of that muscle actually helping to pull things in and support the hip, and then relaxes to give you back that flexion. Right, enjoy.